Welcome, executives, to this explainer. Look, today we're tackling what is honestly an existential challenge for our enterprise cybersecurity posture. We have an absolute urgent need to modernize our digital battle space against some seriously sophisticated adversaries. But let's be real for a second. We have to pull off this modernization without bankrupting our finite resources or completely burning out our already overextended teams. The solution? It's all about the strategic convergence of two massive initiatives that are currently on a collision course.
So let's start with a hard-hitting reality. Right now, nearly 80% of our IT budgets are bleeding directly into just maintaining legacy systems. That leaves mere scraps for the massive modernization mandates we absolutely have to achieve. We are facing a severe technical debt crisis, and frankly, throwing money at the problem in isolated silos? It simply isn't an option anymore.
And it's not just a capital constraint, it's a major personnel constraint. We're currently staring down a massive shortfall of more than 25,000 cyber professionals. Our teams are stretched to the absolute breaking point. It is mathematically and operationally impossible to just outstaff our way through these concurrent modernization initiatives. We have to outthink the problem.
Okay, so here's our bottom line up front for today. First, we'll cover the dual modernization mandate. Second, technical debt and budgets. Third, aligning fragmented governance. And finally, strategies for ZT/AI integration.
Section 1. The Dual Modernization Mandate, Balancing Security and Innovation.
Right, let's dive into the first major friction point we're dealing with, the simultaneous clashing arrival of two massive presidential and Department of Defense mandates. Essentially, we're being asked to completely overhaul our defensive posture and our offensive innovation at the exact same time. On one hand, you have zero trust. It's rigid, it's compliance-heavy, it demands we eliminate all implicit trust, and it comes with a strict, looming fiscal year 2027 deadline. On the other hand, we have artificial intelligence. AI is dynamic, it's autonomous, and it's driven by a highly aggressive 30-day AI-first acceleration strategy. Treating these two monumental shifts as separate silos is just a recipe for operational failure. Why? Because they draw from the exact same finite pools of infrastructure, budgets, and personnel.
Section 2. Technical debt and budgets. The reality of finite resourcing.
We absolutely must confront the core problem of initiative fatigue and the massive financial drain of maintaining outdated infrastructure while facing modern threats. To give you an idea of the severity of our technical and procedural debt, consider this metric. As of February 2025, only 14% of Department of Defense components have actually met their zero trust targets. Just 14%. That incredibly sluggish pace exposes exactly how badly our legacy infrastructure and resource bottlenecks are anchoring us down.
So why are we stalling out? Well, mostly because our cyber professionals are completely overwhelmed. They're dealing with competing priorities that put a massive strain on 24/7 operations. Plus, our legacy networks actively resist the microsegmentation required for zero trust to actually work. Add to that the obscure hiring processes that make it nearly impossible to acquire specialized AI talent. And above all, initiative fatigue is severely eroding leadership focus across the board. Every new mandate feels like adding another heavy rock to an already sinking backpack. Section 3. Aligning fragmented governance, navigating the policy labyrinth.
Now, we need to shift our focus to the administrative nightmare of uncoordinated oversight. Because technical debt, that's really only half the battle. The other half is policy debt, which directly paralyzes our decision-making. The DoD cybersecurity policy chart actually maps out over 234 overlapping issuances, directives, and strategy blocks. Honestly, you practically need a magnifying glass and a PhD in bureaucracy just to find the starting line. This kind of fragmentation creates redundant reporting, conflicting interpretations, and totally inconsistent interoperability across our enterprise. When teams spend way more time navigating governance than implementing actual security, our modernization just grinds to a halt.
Now, I want you to imagine dropping an autonomous, highly powerful tool like AI right into that fragmented environment. While AI is an unbelievable asset for intrusion detection and automated response, deploying it without strict, unified governance expands our attack surface immensely. We're basically inviting highly specific, novel vulnerabilities like model poisoning, prompt injection, AI-enabled insider threats, and severe automation bias into the fold.
Think about how these threats map to real-world operational flows. AI infrastructure inherently introduces entirely new components and dependencies, from training data supply chains to model hosting and inputs, that adversaries are actively primed to exploit. Look, adding AI doesn't automatically make us more secure. Without the proper guardrails, it simply hands our adversaries shiny new backdoors into our operations.
Section 4. Strategies for ZTI integration, breaking the silos.
And that brings us to the executive solution. We have to break down these silos and cross-integrate these frameworks if we want to balance our finite budgets and actually achieve mission capability. Let's anchor this in reality for a moment. As Michael Stokes from Ridgeline International testified, admiring the problem is insufficient. He said, awareness without doctrine, policy, standards, and resourcing will not move the needle. We can't just keep talking about these frameworks, right? We have to deploy integrated, heavily resourced architectural frameworks that solve multiple problems at once.
The very first strategic mechanism we must adopt is the Agentic Trust Framework, or ATF. Think of this as an open governance construct that leverages our already mandated zero-trust backbone to securely unleash AI. Instead of building some separate, redundant security apparatus just for AI, we use Zero Trust's core principle of never trust, always verify to allow AI agents to act autonomously under strict, defined controls. And we do it without creating new vulnerabilities.
This framework governs AI safely by constantly asking 5 continuous questions of every single AI agent. Identity, who exactly are you? Behavior, what are you doing? Data governance, what data are you consuming and serving? Segmentation, where are you allowed to go? And finally, incident response, what happens if you go rogue? By locking AI safely inside this zero-trust perimeter, we enable incredibly rapid innovation without compromising our security posture.
Now, notice how this builds perfectly into our second overarching framework, AZTRM. That stands for Automated Zero Trust Risk Management, combined with DevSecOps. This incredibly powerful construct fuses agile development, continuous validation, and structured governance to deliver a continuously adaptive cybersecurity posture.
Here is the cradle-to-grave deployment of how this actually works in practice. First, we operationalize AI across every single phase of our DevSecOps efforts. Second, we deploy Zero Trust for continuous AI access management, ensuring the AI only touches exactly what it needs to and nothing more. And third, we integrate the risk management framework to automatically govern and assess risk. It essentially automates our compliance while actively securing our innovation. By aligning DevSecOps, risk management, and Zero Trust into one unified pipeline, we totally eliminate security as an afterthought. This integration drastically reduces the cognitive and operational burden on our severely understaffed workforce. We stop doing things 3 different times in 3 different silos, and instead, we force them all through one secure automated pipeline. It's a game changer.
And you don't just have to take my word for it. The lab-proven metrics of this AZRDM environment absolutely speak for themselves. In testing, this integrated approach improved vulnerability detection by a staggering 98%. It reduced the mean time to remediate from weeks down to just 1 to 3 days. It effectively blocked privilege escalation and completely removed brute force access entirely. These are massive, enterprise-level operational gains. And the best part? They were achieved without requiring a single additional headcount.
So, let's talk about the real bottom line, the return on investment. For the budget holders in the room who are definitely feeling the squeeze of finite resources, consider this 2024 IBM study data. Integrated Zero Trust results in 50% faster incident response, a 43% reduction in breach costs, and 30% better audit scores. By integrating these frameworks, the massive cost savings and efficiency gains from Zero Trust literally fund our AI acceleration mandates. It practically pays for itself. Which brings us to our final thought. As we stand here facing this convergence of technical debt, fragmented governance, and intense resource constraints, we really have a choice to make. Jay Chandri perfectly framed the challenge of every major IT evolution when he said, there are 2 groups, those who adapted and thrived, and those who resisted and got left behind. Leadership has to abandon siloed thinking today and aggressively pursue integrated modernization to secure our operational future. Thank you all for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep integrating, and I'll see you next time.